Hey, it's Healthy Gut Girl, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the myths and the misinformation that is out there. I just want to clear things up and be very, very clear about culturing and fermenting foods. First of all, the difference between culturing and fermenting is that when you culture something, you actually add a culture starter, a probiotic starter. So you add cultures of bacteria to the product, then making it more probiotic rich. When you just ferment it, you're utilizing its own beneficial bacteria that are already present on, let's say, a cabbage, for example. So we really like to culture. I love to culture. Healthy Gut Girl loves to culture because why are we doing this? We're doing this not because we love sauerkraut so much, but because we want to have foods in our body that are rich in probiotics, that don't tax our system to digest them, that are pre-digested, and that give us tons of benefits. And that's what these foods do. That's why we do them. So that's why we add the culture, because it multiplies it by 100. All right, so first of all, because it's such a craze and because people are really starting to catch on to all these foods, there's a lot of money to be made, and there is also a lot of benefits to be gained from it. And there's a lot of misinformation out there because it's just new on the scene, basically. So first of all, very simply put, and I like to keep things simple. I don't like to drown you with a whole bunch of information, and so I'm just going to say, there are a lot of bells and whistles out there and toys. I'm leaning on one right now. This is a crock. Literally it's called a crock. And this is what, I got this for online from Germany. And it's with shipping, it's like $175. And you can basically ferment about 5 gallons of vegetables in here. And that's great, except for when it's time to put it in the fridge, you have to put it into jars anyway, because this won't fit in the fridge and you don't want to put this whole thing in the fridge. The fancy thing about it is that it's got these weights in it that you put on top of the veggie matter. There's a moat here. So you put the lid on, you put your water in here, and all of the gases that are released from the beneficial bacteria as they start to break down and pre-digest the vegetable matter, it escapes and it comes out. But no air can get in because of the water. But the air that's in there, the carbon dioxide, can escape. So there's some misinformation about if you don't have one of these, or if you don't have an airlock or some fancy mason jar with an airlock on it, that the bottle will explode. I've been doing this for a long time, and I work very closely with Donna Gates, the expert of all experts, and she has been doing it for well over 20 years. Neither of us have ever had a bottle explode on us, ever. Now, I've heard that some people have, and the only way that I can possibly imagine that that could happen is if the lid is on and the Hulk put it on so tight that the little bit of bubbles that we were just talking about before, the gas can't escape. But when I do it, I don't close it that tight. You know, it's just like a normal tightened jar. That's why we put it in a little basin or a Tupperware when we ferment it, because it will leak. And that's okay. You want it to leak. It's fine. And then you just take some paper towels and you clean up the leakage and you put it back. After 3 days, it'll stop leaking. Probably 2 days, actually, and depending on how warm it is. And that's fine. And this is cheap. The whole idea with this is that you're not spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on bells and whistles and supplements and all sorts of things that you don't really need. You want to keep it simple, keep it simple. So this is super simple. I think you could get a dozen of these for probably $1 each. You know, you can get them on eBay too. And you just have to clean them really well and get some lids. You can get plastic. I don't like the metal ones because they do rust easily. So the other reason people talk about having airlock is because they don't want any mold or pathogens to grow in there. Well, guess what? Welcome to planet Earth. We are covered with pathogens. There will always be pathogens in here. But because we added a culture to it, they're completely outnumbered. The same way the E. coli that's in all of us is outnumbered by all the beneficial bacteria. And the cancer cells are outnumbered. We all have them. but they're outnumbered. There's a checks and balances that happens just like in the Amazon rainforest. It's an ecosystem. So you're going to have, sometimes you're going to open up your lid and you're going to see some mold and you're going to go, oh no, and you're going to want to throw it out. Just wipe it down, put it in another vessel if you want, and just, I wouldn't go and, lick the sides of it because Healthy Gut Girl told you that it's not going to hurt you. You don't want to do that. But by all means, it's not going to kill you. I've never known anybody to get sick eating cultured veggies or drinking coconut kefir. In fact, quite the opposite occurs. So that's some of the misinformation. 100 times more nutritious. So this coconut water, before it was fermented, it is now 100 times more nutritious. This cabbage, this is my favorite recipe. It's my pink cabbage and daikon, super spicy, fantastic, and 100 times more nutritious. That is the facts. That's the facts, Jack. And so if you want to go and buy an expensive crock and you want to go buy all the bells and whistles, by all means, do it. I've done it. I'm a chef, and so I've investigated all these avenues. But just for daily usage and just trying to get healthy and trying to get well, and keeping it simple is the smartest thing to do.